bang, bang. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. I love the way you walk. I love the way you talk. When you walk that walk and talk that talk. You knocks me out off my feet. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang.
Boom, 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 boom. Gonna shoot you right down off of your feet. How, how.
Hey, hey.
I hope you all have us back sometime soon. And be good to each other and drive carefully on the way home.
What's happening?
Are you on the internet?
Uh-huh.
It says there's no internet
Oh, really? Sandra's going on. Hey, Sandra, did you have trouble getting on?
No, I did not.
Oh,
Got right on.
you said here if you want. Oh, all right.
But I'll sit here for now. How's that?
That'll work.
Computer will figure it out.
Yeah. A couple minutes.
Get my coffee down.
Tear my heart open, I sew myself shut, and my weakness is that I care too much, and the scars remind us that the past is real. I tear my heart open just to feel. I tried to help you once, against my own advice. I saw you going down, but you never realized that you're drowning in the water. So I offered you my hand. Compassion's in my nature. Tonight is our last stand. I tear my heart open, I sew myself shut, and my weakness is that I care too much, and our scars remind us that the past is real. I tear my heart open just to feel. I'm drunk and I'm feeling down, and I just wanna be alone. You should've never come around. Why don't you just go home? Cause you're drowning in the water, and I tried to grab your hand. I left my heart open, but you didn't understand. But you didn't understand. Go fix yourself.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Give you just a couple more minutes here, see if anybody else hops on.
Tear my heart open, I sew myself shut, and my weakness is that I care too much, and the scars remind us that the past is real. I tear my heart open just to feel.
Who did I start off with? Big Head Hot Monsters. Boom, boom, boom. The old, what's the name remake? Gosh, can't think of it. I can't think of his name. Guy that did it originally.
Which one?
Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. T-Bone Walker.
I can't remember that one either.
I'll think of it. I'll probably think of it right in the middle of the video. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start the video here. This one is it's kind of short, and it's just basically I said something about in the thing about mind reading. It's not really mind reading, it's more about being able to read people and kind of being able to get kind of an idea of what they're thinking before you actually hear what they say. And which is good and bad, because sometimes if you think that you know what they're gonna say and they end up saying something totally different. But this will kind of help you read
No, really
visual
look
clues and stuff
at
like
her.
that.
She's gorgeous, right? I'm sure you see girls like this.
In this video, I'm going to teach you how to read anyone. And specifically, what I want to do is give you 6 things that if you implement and think about these, you're going to know what people are thinking and feeling without them even having to tell you. And that skill is amazing. You can apply it in tons and tons of different circumstances. And that's the last piece. I want to help you learn how to apply it. Because a very, very common question that I see in the comments, and I appreciate those, but very, very common one is, Charlie, how do you make these charisma breakdowns? How do you see the frameworks that you see? And how did you learn this stuff? The answer is that I started by learning how to read people. That's so closely tied to the question of the charisma breakdown. So I figured, why not knock them both out in one video? Let's go ahead and get started though. The first thing, if you're interested in learning how to read other people, is you have to get better at reading yourself. You need to develop a level of self-awareness that is far, far above most other people. But the good news is, it's a very specific kind of self-awareness. And that is, you have to notice when you are forming opinions about other people, or when you're changing opinions about other people. Because if you think about it, there's 7 billion people in the world, and you don't have opinions on most of them, right? You don't trust them, or distrust them, or like them, or hate them. It's just neutral to you. But at some point between seeing someone who is a stranger and then having them walk up to you, start a conversation, speaking for maybe 5 minutes, you're going to form a very strong opinion most times. And that's going to be, you know what, I just don't trust this guy. Something about him has tipped me off. Or this guy's awesome. I would definitely hang out and spend time with him. Or maybe it's, this person, wow, how sharp are they? I would love to work with them. The truth is, only a few minutes have gone by, right? You haven't seen their resume. You don't know anything about them. Everything they're saying could be true, false, or otherwise. What you're picking up on are very, very subtle cues. And if you get good at noticing when you feel these things, you're going to get better at picking up those cues and identifying what they are. So step one, self-awareness. You need to know when you are having opinions about other people. Second piece, now we're going to bring the focus to others. We're going to start with the easiest, and that is, where is their attention, right? Attention is very typically easy to identify. Most of us can do it intuitively, but just to cover the basic things, eye contact, right? You know when someone is paying attention to you, or rather they're talking to you, but they're kind of looking over, they're looking down at their watch, right? They're trying to get out of there. You can tell that and sense that intuitively. The other thing that some people have a harder time sensing is where their body is, right? So when you're trying to get out of a conversation, you might start to angle out and go, yeah, okay, cool, sounds good, all right, see you tomorrow. And then you're gone, right? Similarly, if you're in a room and there's someone you'd like to be talking to over this direction, but you're in a conversation with the person here, you might find yourself opening up without even thinking about it. So where your hips, where your feet, where your torso, people say all that, the truth is it's the whole darn thing. Where different elements of your body are facing is indicative of where your attention is. And then the last thing for attention that is going to be important is the person that is talking to you, or that maybe you're talking to, are you answering and asking engaged questions? A non-engaged question is cool, interesting, yep, okay, that's non-engaged. An engaged question relates to the thing that you're saying. It's an add-on. It doesn't have to be a question. It could be a comment that is related to a story you told. That is going to be very indicative of if you have someone's attention or don't. So that's the first step of cold reading. Second thing overall is going to be, okay, are they giving me attention? Are they interested or disinterested in what is going on in front of them? Then we want to hone down a little bit, right? Because all we know now is interested or disinterested. We need to get to some emotions. And the truth about emotions is that they are very, very, very focused up here. The easiest place to find an emotion, there are other tells elsewhere, but 80 to 90% of them are occurring here. And I include the voice box in this because tonality is going to be huge. Specifically, the first thing that you should start to do is identifying your expressions. We know happiness, right? We know these things. That's not a problem. What becomes difficult for people are micro expressions, right? So when someone is feeling a feeling, but they're trying to hide it. Say, for instance, we just saw happiness on my face. Say that I'm in a job interview and I just got a job offer that is way higher than I expected, but I want to keep it on the down low. I don't want them to know. At this point, what I might do is they say, okay, you just got XYZ amount of money. I go, okay, sounds interesting. And what you'll do is you'll see people lose momentary control and flash briefly and less big, right? Not as much teeth, the emotion that they're feeling. And this is true for tons of different emotions. I personally got my experience learning how to read these in the real world, right? I wasn't necessarily looking for them, but what I would do is go out and see, okay, what's going on with people's faces? This wasn't conscious at the time. And then how do they behave immediately after that? If you want a crash course on that, I haven't done it myself, but I do see that there's micro expression tests online. And they're fun, they'll get you a start, and maybe then take it into the...
Don't boil or fry another egg before listening to this.
See, our bodies are nearly...
Oh, man.
the world. So if you're interested in those, I'm going to link in the description to that. But don't go just yet, because the truth is, micro expressions and identifying them consciously is really not a huge part of how the best people who read others do it. The best way that they do it is by identifying patterns. So job interview again, right? Say you're in a job interview and the person across the table from you goes, okay, see your resume. Okay, we'll call you back. Pattern. You know that. They're never going to call you back, right? You go out into a bar, and I've seen this one. There's a guy who is leering and looming over a girl, right? Pattern right there. She's about to get the heck out of there. You see these very, very consistent patterns. And I could list off a ton for you, but while there's a finite number, there is a large finite number. So it's not necessarily worth it for me to do all of the patterns. That would take forever. What I can do is teach you to start identifying them better. And the way that you do that is by making predictions. This is going to really, really hone your pattern recognition skills. So, for instance, when I was about, I think I was 21, because I was just starting to go to bars, spending a lot of time going out. It was really new and exciting. But one of the things that I would do is I would go and I would make guesses, predictions about who knew who, how a conversation was going, if that girl liked that guy. So I'd walk in and I go, that group, I think that they came here together because that girl just grabbed a drink and handed it to that guy as if it was no big deal. So there's clearly some trust there. On the other hand, there's a group over here, 2 guys and 2 girls, and they're standing with this like invisible line between them. Nobody's touching. The guys are on one side, the girls are on the other. I think they just met. And then there was a situation with a buddy of mine, I remember, and I started to get good at seeing this. And he said, there's this girl, I met her, it's going really well. And it looked like it was going well. And then I would watch as he rolled up and stood against the wall like this and leered over her. And all of a sudden, pattern, she's about to bolt. And what do you know, 30 seconds later, she leaves. So start making predictions. That is going to help you get really, really good at this pattern recognition stuff. And I cannot recommend that enough. I really think for me, that was the biggest thing that enabled me to start to see the stuff. It's going, I think this is going to happen next, and then seeing if I was right or wrong. But the truth of all of this is you have to go out and you've got to be scientific about it, because you're predicting patterns, you're seeing all these things. But if you don't start to apply it to your own life and to experiment with it, it's all going to fall flat and it's not going to stick. And the interesting thing about experiments is that they prove you right or wrong. And this is the science part of it, because I remember I would go out and I would try to pick up different things from friends of mine who did other things well. So for instance, Ben, my co-founder, who you might have seen in other videos, had this buddy who was very gregarious, outgoing, but he was also a big dude. And people really liked him. So Ben, when he first got to college, one of the first things he did is he saw this guy, he wanted to be more like him, get the reactions that he got, and he thought, okay, he's 220 pounds of muscle, must be the muscle. So he went to the gym, worked out really hard. A year later, he's put on 40 pounds. He's the same height, same size, same weight, and nothing really changed, right? It didn't go the direction that he wanted. Then he goes, okay, so it's not necessarily the size. I think what it is that he's very loud and gregarious and outgoing. And so he started speaking more loudly and being more outgoing. And all of a sudden you see, okay, that is the pattern that is making it work. In my own life, there was a friend of mine who I thought had great eye contact. And I thought, you know what? He's got big eyes. So it's probably because of these big eyes that he's got such great eye contact. And for the next week on and off, when I was in conversation and I thought about it, I go, all right, I want to see what happens, how people respond if I do the big eye contact. So he'd be talking to me and I go, awesome. Oh, that was so cool, right? And I'm doing these bug-eyed, insane mad person look until Ben, my friend, goes, dude, what the hell are you doing? And okay, I learned that pattern was completely wrong. The point of this is, you can start to learn how to cold read people. If you can identify the emotions you have, you're going to get some hypotheses about what's driving emotions. If you can start to predict and see them in other people, you're going to get good at knowing, okay, this conversation is about to tip. It's going to go well or it's going to go bad. They're about to really make friends or they're going to split. And then the way that I make the breakdowns is I just go back and say what happened before that, right? So I saw my buddy go up, this girl's about to split, but what did he do? I didn't know at the time, and I only put it together later that it was, oh my gosh, when he leans up against the wall, looms over her, of course, that triggers a feeling of I need to get out of here. And so sometimes when I'm out, I'll notice, I go out to dinner, right? And I see that one friend of mine will start to tell a story and we'll be at a little circular table and every single person there will pay attention. I'll go, this is an interesting story, but honestly, what interests me more is how the heck did he do that? What did he preface it with? What went right before he started talking? And similarly, same night, somebody on the other side of the circular table will tell a story and it'll just fall flat. It'll go 3 sentences in and nobody will listen. So that's how I do it. That I think is how you can become much, much better at not only reading people, but in how to learn what these triggers are so that you can be more captivating, more interesting, more of the ways that you would like to be in your own life. And I guess I should just say this last thing. A huge, huge underpinning of this channel and everything that we do is the idea that you are not born charismatic or uncharismatic or confident or unconfident. All of those things are an aggregate of your mindsets and actions. So I just have to say that if you don't believe that, go watch more of our videos, but that is a fundamental piece that is going to make all of this possible. So that's it for this video. I hope that you've enjoyed it. If you have and you'd like to see more, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you do, you're going to get our videos on your homepage. You're going to get an
Okay. So he went kind of a long way just to watch people. The easiest way to kind of, and what we're talking about here is like, when he was talking about predictions and stuff like that, the little subtle, just like whenever you just, like, the way I took it is for like when you're talking to clients, potential clients, other agents, when you're negotiating, using these little things, you can kind of predict where they're going to go with their thought process just by looking at their facial cues and little things that they do while you're talking to them. But what he was talking about with predictions, he was talking about going to the bar or whatever. You can do it anywhere. I mean, me and my buddy, we kind of make a game out of it. Actually, I've done this forever. Like whenever we go out or whatever, or even at the grocery store, we'll be sitting there and like we'll try to guess what's going to happen with, like, say these two people. The best example was we used to try to pick who was going to get in an argument and who was going to be going home at the end of the night, happy and everything. And we would like place bets on, I bet you by the end of the night, she's talking to that guy instead of that guy. And I mean, just crazy stuff. But it's kind of fun because if you pay attention to people and watch, you can almost usually kind of tell what's going on, just not even hearing the whole conversation. You can just tell by watching people what's going on. So it's really fun. I mean, in a way, I do it at the grocery store. I mean, everywhere. I mean, you can tell if you watch people, like when they're checking out and talking and interacting with the cashier, you can tell when they're getting annoyed, you know what I mean? Just by the look on their face and stuff. But if you use these things, you can also kind of tell, like, if you're talking to your client and you're starting to give them some information and they're not liking that information, you can kind of change tactic on how you're delivering it, you know what I mean? Midstream or whatever. It's just, that was the main reason of it. So did anybody else get anything out of it that, really stuck with them of the video?
That you're not born confident or charismatic. It's a learned behavior.
Right. I mean, some people are just, more outgoing and stuff, but even then it's still more of a learned behavior. It's just the situations they've been put in, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd really like to go watch some more of those videos, get more into it. I think I could probably learn a lot. I also learned that at the Christmas party, were you watching me and my husband? Is that what I'm hearing?
Maybe. No, not really. I mean,
okay.
More, maybe a little bit, I mean, just
okay.
But not, I don't know. I guess sometimes I do it kind of subconsciously, but it's more like if you're in a group of people, just kind of looking around the room, just kind of seeing how different people are interacting with each other.
Yeah.
And
weddings are another fun time like that. Like you mentioned, the Christmas party. I like bars and being out and about and restaurants and stuff like that are interesting, but get people in an area where they also know quite a few people, and things get real weird on what people do or won't do, and that charismatic versus non, and how people can also pull the non-charismatic people up to that charismatic level, even without libations on that side. So, but the other thing I liked, I heard a quote the other day of, be a thermostat, not a thermometer. And as he talked about the gentleman that talked louder, that was more invested, that had better eye contact, he's setting that stage as a thermometer. But by being loud, my brain goes to, I'm already loud. But that could be for the person that, talks softer, that isn't very engaging, that's more of a subtle. Whereas for me, it could be a factor of going the opposite. Maybe I'm not as loud, but I'm more focused and more in line with somebody because I can be loud. I can be in 18 different places at once and go squirrel. Well, hey, if I can hone in on the person, and I've been practicing this here lately of being fully involved in the conversation I'm in. And that's what I heard out of that was saying, hey, be invested in the conversation you're having. And also as you analyze and you look back at how that conversation went, it's a whole lot easier to know what was going on if you were fully there. Right. And fully in that place.
Right. Yeah.
And you can't pick up on these cues if you're not focused and looking at the person.
Exactly.
Which I mean, I would like to know, is there a way that you can maybe pick up cues from the voice when you're on the phone with someone? That would be interesting to try to do.
That's a good one. Yes, you can. It's a little more difficult because sometimes whenever somebody's not saying something, their face is still saying something. I mean, so it is a little bit more difficult. But there are things you can pick up on in their voice and their cadence and if they how it changes and stuff like that. But I will look into finding a video about that too, though.
Also makes me wonder on the phone. I listen to what's happening around them. Do they have a TV on? Are there kids in the room? Like right now, I'm at my kitchen table because my wife just got back from the gym right whenever this starts. So it's, Monday mornings are a little different for me. So, hey, she walked in the door. I thought like 19 things, but as he's talking about focus and motivation and having conversations and being focused, I'm going, oh yeah, I can do that. Even if there's other stuff going on around me. But that's something I listen for is, okay, what else is happening in their environment that could keep them from being fully involved as well. And in that timing piece, because I think the pauses, some people are great at that naturally, or they focus on it, and other people, it's their biggest giveaway ever. It's like their poker chip. But those are just two things I look at in those conversations. What about you two? Sandra, how do you think you already assess that without maybe like subconsciously?
No, say that again. How do
what cues do you think you already pick up on that you maybe haven't really thought of in that phone call? Or Tina, on your side, or Liz, anybody else that some things that help you?
I guess
the deep, heavy sighs, like, or there's a major pause in between, what they're trying to say to you. I mean, you kind of know, I mean, they're just not as friendly and as outgoing as when you first started.
Right. One thing about the pause, that's one thing I'm working on. Sometimes that pause is your best friend. Letting that silence do the talking for you. I've got a real bad habit of whenever somebody pauses, trying to fill that in because I think, they don't understand what I'm saying, or they're not getting it or whatever. So I try to give them more information. That's not necessarily a good thing. Sometimes they're just processing. And if you start giving them more information, it's just going to make it that much harder for them to process.
Overload.
Yeah. Which that's something I need to work on for sure. I mean, because you think about it, I mean, that silent pause, your first thought is, oh no, I've either said something to make them mad, or they didn't understand what I said. And it might not be that at all. I mean, they might just be thinking.
Well, that's where we need to follow up with that. Does that make sense?
Right.
After we explained it, and maybe we can get them to engage a little bit better.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. One thing that, as far as like people watching, I know it's usually, sometimes it's a little bit easier if you got somebody, because if you, I'm like, if you get caught, if you're just sitting there watching, you're staring at them, and you don't even, think about it. You're just kind of into thinking about what you're doing, you don't realize you're staring a hole through them. So sometimes if you've got somebody there to kind of talk to, you can kind of watch people without looking directly at them. You kind of have that breakaway to where you have somebody to conversate with and stuff, and making it fun or whatever. I think, but yeah, a lot of it is just watching and seeing how they react, and then just kind of putting that to memory, and just, looking at all the visual cues and stuff that leading up to whatever happens, but yeah, it's kind of fun. And yeah, Sandra, I'll definitely try to find some more. There are some more out there. I've got a couple actually saved, different things like this. as far as like, I've got a couple is like just having conversations in just general give and take conversations in general and stuff like that. And then some about negotiating too, because that's a whole different conversation, a whole different way of conversating. So, but I'll get those up. And we'll do
Boy,
it.
it made me think is I've never done both. I'm pretty antsy, like excited, but also nervous all at the same time, all the different things going on. But ultimately I'm pumped. I mean, like whenever the root is, I'm so excited to create just a snowball of business, a snowball of conversation, a snowball of relationships, like all the things I continue to hear about. But to me, that sounds like something, as you've talked about Bold several times before, sounds like something that we can utilize even as we step into Bold, taking that, because that's where we can analyze that. And we can also pivot and shift and make those adjustments throughout those conversations. And then also test it, because that's something I've been like Coy, I tested the pause because I learned it from a boss of mine. And I learned whenever I'm testing it, I pause too long and people are like, are you there? Hello? Hello? What's going on?
Right.
And it's like, whoops. I was thinking too long. I was trying to figure out my words. But Tina, I think you came off mute. What were you thinking about? You're about to jump in there.
No, I was just going to tell Coy that if I ever go to a restaurant and I see you there, I am leaving.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like diabolical or anything. I mean,
Sure.
We just do it back to him.
there you go. Yeah.
I can see Coy at a restaurant with a newspaper held up above his head.
The detective
No,
taking notes.
I got the holes cut in. I don't have to look.
I was about to say, I feel like Liz Pruitt would probably be one that is pretty good at this too, of like watching those people and seeing what's happening. Maybe.
I do spend a lot of time doing that. You're right, Mark.
Just wondering.
Hence me being so quiet in this Zoom call.
Yeah,
I'm watching.
You've been doing it the whole time.
I've been listening.
Yeah, I think of you and Ashley Bowen on this side of being able to read people and watch and assess, and my bride as well. The silent assassins.
We kind of learn from the best. So
well, I'll say this, there actually there's been a couple of times at the bar whenever back in my young and wilder days, there's been a couple of times whenever I've been like, hey guys, we need to go ahead and get the hell out of here. And come to find out that something like a whole big brawl busted out not long after we left. So it does help you in other ways also.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
All right, guys. If anybody has anything else or anything, we'll go ahead and end it here. I got it recorded. I'll go ahead and download it and all that stuff and put it back up on the Facebook if anybody else wants to watch it again. And
share out that page. What page it is that he has that he mentioned subscribing to it. Oh, I guess if you post the video, we can figure out who.
Yeah, I'll look again. I think it's on the actual YouTube thing. I think it'll say down at the bottom. I'll go check it out, but I'll put in the link or something like that or whatever.
Thanks, man.
And then next week, I'm gonna be talking to Justin and Julie. We're talking about new construction.
Oh, good.
So yeah, everything. If you have any questions about new construction or anything like that, be sure to be here, and I'll record that one too. But
we'll be live for that one though, won't we?
Yeah.
Will they be in the room so we can come see them?
Hopefully.
Or will they be virtual? Okay.
Julie said that she should be able to. Justin, if nothing else, he'll be on Zoom. So if you hear live, he'll be on Zoom live with us. So, and he'll be here asking or answering, like, because new construction loans are a little bit different than, there's certain, the timeline and stuff like that are different. So he's going to be here answering all that stuff, letting us know all about that stuff too. So, and then Julie's going to let us know all about how she got into it, things to look out for, things, all the cool stuff about it. So we'll see you next week, or if you need anything, y'all know how to get a hold of me. If not, I give you my number.
Stay out of trouble.
Right. I'll try.
Thanks, Corey.
I'll try. I'll see you later.
Appreciate you, Coy. Thanks.
Have a good week, guys.
Bye
See you
now.
later.
See y'all.
Bye.